Oh my God! They killed Cthulhu! You bastards! Are movie theaters determined to drive everyone over the age of 20 to stay at home? A giant franchise is getting an upgrade. All that, plus the latest developments from the multiverse, news from Flight Test Land, and an interview you shall not miss! That's all coming up on today's Slice.
Covering all the news from every dark corner of the universe.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
Hola y saludos a todos. Merci que battions qui orten.
Sliceofsci-fi.com.
And welcome everyone to another Slice of Sci-Fi. I'm Michael R. Menengay. What are you doing?
Nothing. I am Brian Brown.
I'm Sam Roberts.
I am Tim Adamick.
I am Brett Philippek.
I'm Megan Zier. I had the wrong thing on.
Megan is running the video, and she's just she's doing
learning.
fine.
Sucker.
The learning process.
It's doing better than I did when I started it.
News!
That's
News!
Here's what's happening.
Tell me if this all sounds familiar to you.
Oh, no.
I'm ready.
You're settling in to enjoy the latest movie at your local multiplex, and then some jackwagon decides to whip out their cell phone and has to answer or respond to a text in the middle of their film.
Yeah.
Some jackwagon named Brett Philippek.
Yes.
Never
Brett
okay.
Jackwagon Philippek, for example.
So guilty. I'm so
And
guilty.
while there are some theater chains which prohibit texting and cell phone during the movie theaters, many say they may start embracing the use of texting and other social networking during movie showings.
I will never go again.
Yes,
Wow.
Philippek, these are for you, buddy.
Yeah.
At a recent CinemaCon convention in Las Vegas, there was a lively debate among theater owners about texting and its place within the theaters. The Los Angeles Times' Patrick Goldstein says that some of the studios see that there is a value in not handcuffing kids by banning texting in the theaters.
Because it's free promotion.
Yes.
That's
Is there going to be
why.
a texting or no texting sections of the theater?
Pretty much. So you're trying to figure out if there's going to be something you can offer in the theater. I would not find it appealing, but my 18-year-old son might, and said Amy Miles, president of Regal Cinemas. IMAX Filmed Entertainment chief Greg Foster also seemed to be in favor of relaxing standards for moviegoers. He said, "Hey, we're already making you pay $1 billion." No,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
no kidding.
He noted that his 17-year-old son constantly has his phone with him, adding, "We want youth to pay $12 to $14 to come to the auditorium, watch a movie, but they've become accustomed to controlling their existence."
Yeah.
Much like Brett Philippek is.
OMG, Brian is so not funny, LOL.
Yeah. So, and thus a cell phone ban might make them feel a little handcuffed, restrained. Not the way you like.
I'm not afraid. There's no cell phones in the show. That just
Yeah, right. Look at them right here, folks.
Over here.
So, but
as I hide mine.
yeah. He doesn't mean that texting isn't currently frowned upon by the rules of theaters. Customer etiquette is a big deal to us, Miles said. We strongly discourage any cell phone usage in our theaters.
I've gotten many a person kicked out for it.
Yeah,
for you. Good for
Good.
you.
Me too. I'm like, dude, I'm here to pay some serious money for this. It's bad enough I'm getting my seat kicked. I had to pay $15 for a soda and popcorn.
Yeah.
I will have to pry my shoes off of the floor as I leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the theater experience.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'm like, maybe they can do cell phone showings versus non.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be good.
That'd be okay by me.
Exactly.
So we're going to have 3D, 2D,
Yeah.
texting, non-texting.
I'm
We're gonna
sure
have
it won't
non-texting 3D,
happen, but that'd be
non-texting 2D.
ideal.
Right.
3D
Basically, what he's trying to say is we're trying
Kids
to...
approach things differently because they've
Right.
grown up with devices
Because
like
they're
this.
spoiled little
Yes.
shits.
Yes.
Right.
There's that.
That's
There's
exactly
that.
right.
That is true.
So what he's trying to say is we're not trying to convey to the world that we've had a new policy in texting. We do not, but we're looking at new things. That's basically what they said.
Director Guillermo del Toro recently revealed that his pet project, an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness, is probably dead.
Wow.
And that, director Ridley Scott killed it.
Oh?
Really?
Writing on his message boards, Del Toro says that the upcoming Prometheus shares similar themes and even scenes.
Interesting.
Both movies seem to share identical set pieces and the exact same big revelation or twist at the end. I won't spoil it, Del Toro writes, adding that he's glad to see a new sci-fi epic from Scott.
Ooh.
But
Weird.
really, though, how could
How
you
did you
do
do
a
that?
How could you do a Cthulhu movie? In all honesty, have you ever played the game?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe that's kind of what they're doing. Maybe they're playing Call of Cthulhu with Prometheus.
There you go.
I'll pay to see that.
I mean, I've never had a game last longer than about 35 seconds.
No.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This time it'll be about an hour and 45 minutes.
Immediately
That's how
go
long.
crazy.
Yeah.
And $12.
In a related story, it has been confirmed by 20th Century Fox that Prometheus has been given an R rating by the
Good.
MPAA
Okay.
and will be
Nice.
released to theaters with that rating.
Yay.
Good.
So, following Netflix lead, Amazon is looking to get into the original programming game.
It was inevitable.
It's unsurprising.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, the online retail giant announced last week it has begun an initiative to offer original television programming. According to Reuters, the Amazon will begin with children's programming and comedy via its streaming service.
Because both of those are cheap.
Yep. The public will be able to submit ideas for a TV series to Amazon Studios' website. So there we go, guys. There's something for us.
Okay.
The company plans to option one new project per month, adding each project to a development slate. The push into TV is a part of a bigger effort by Amazon to produce its own content, including ebooks and video. Amazon Studios debuted in 2010 and asks its customers to review movie scripts and ideas online as well.
So we now have two major players who are in a very good position
Well,
to
check
break
this-
the back of Hollywood.
Yeah, check this out. It has 15 movie projects under development right now. The television effort is led by Joe Lewis, who previously worked at 20th Century Fox and Comedy Central, and Tara Sorensen, who previously worked at National Geographic Kids. If an idea gets distributed on a full-budget series, Amazon will give the creator $55,000 and up to 5% of Amazon's net receipts from toy and T-shirt licensing.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
Hell yeah.
a deal.
As well as other royalties and bonuses.
Get ready for Hollywood to declare war on Silicon Valley.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
This is such a game
Absolutely.
changer.
This really makes SOPA and PIPA and all those make sense.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we probably got time for nothing else but multiverse.
Let's do some
Okay.
multiverse.
This is Web Genie, and I just can't wait for another thrilling multiverse news update.
Neutron Media presents Lance Neutron's Multiverse News featuring Lance Neutron. Filling in for Lance Neutron is Nigel Blackwood.
Hello and welcome to the news. Studio executives were rather disappointed with the very poor showing of the new Three Stooges movie that was released earlier this year. This has caused executives to reconsider the idea of making Freddy versus Abbott and Costello. In television news, an old classic TV series is getting a reboot with a sci-fi twist. Many fans are really looking forward to the fact that production has finally started on I Dream of Jeannie in a Metal Bikini. And now for some Star Trek news. We have learned that a source very close to J.J. Abrams says that J.J. has automatically assumed that Star Trek II will be a huge, monstrous hit. Because of this, our source has learned that J.J. already has a basic idea for the new Star Trek III number 2. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. If you don't want to be spoiled, please close your ears. But in the new Star Trek III number 2, Captain Kirk's promiscuous past comes back to haunt him in what will be Star Trek III, The Children of the Gorn. And now we have to pause for this brief commercial message.
All right, Louis, we're gonna rub out Franco. He's been messing too much of my territory, you know? Who did you hire?
Don't worry, boss. I got the Iceman himself.
Looks like a snowball on a top hat. What are you gonna do with that?
Well, just watch, boss. Watch. Here comes Franco. I'll just put this top hat on the snowball. Happy birthday, motherfuckers. I'm gonna kill somebody. Take that. And that.
Frosty the Hitman, only on the Neutron Media Network. Multiverse News is sponsored in part by Grantoff Merkins. Only you could be so bold. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us here on the Multiverse News Update. Let's take you back now to the Draco Vista Studios.
Oh joy, a little twig has grown to treehood standing on its own. And now our tree's well-being depends on Smokey Bear and all his friends to guard its life and limb from fire and keep it growing ever higher. To see that fire never catches, Smokey's friends don't play with matches.
And welcome back to more of Slice of Sci-Fi. I'm Michael Armenenge.
And I am Brian Brown. And we are continuing with our coverage of all these great people from Phoenix Comic-Con that are going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is Phil LaMarr. Now, the name may ring some bells, folks, but let me tell you, the man, you hear his voice all the time. Trust me, you really, really do. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show, Phil.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Michael. It's good to be here.
So, just so people know where your voice is heard, the one that most people will know, Futurama, of course. You do Hermes Conrad.
Yes, I do the voice of Hermes, the 36th grade level bureaucrat of Planet Express.
Oh, very nice. That's awesome. And of course, the funny thing is, we were laughing because we're going out, we're like going, oh yeah, he's been in this, he's been in this, he's been in this. It's like, and my God, Phil, you look at you on IMDb and you're like, he's voiced everything.
Pretty much.
Well, I've been around a very long time, and cartoons are only a half hour long, so really you divide it up. It's a pretty easy workload.
So,
I like it.
How did you get into the biz? I mean, you look and you say, oh, Phil's done all this work, but it doesn't really say other than, you did a lot of improv work and whatnot. You're on Mad TV, of course, and other things, but it doesn't say, well, how did you get into the voice work part of it?
Well, I actually got into voice work twice. Once, my very first professional gig was on the Mr. T cartoon when I was still in high school. And that's how I got my Screen Actors Guild card and all that. But it wasn't really, I didn't think of it as anything more than a summer job. And then years later, after college, and I moved back home to L.A. and started pursuing acting professionally. I'd done improv at the Groundlings and done sketch, and sketch work got me onto Mad TV. Mm-hmm. And at Mad TV, we did a bunch of claymation pieces created by this guy, Corky Quakenbush.
Yes, yeah. I remember those. Those are awesome.
Raging Rudolph and Klops and all of these things. And they had the cast voice the animated characters. And that was really sort of my second coming into voiceover. Because we were already doing a bunch of characters, and that was just the voices. And then from there, the women who cast Mad TV also wound up being the people responsible for casting Futurama. And they knew that I had done voices on Mad, so they brought me in for Futurama. And it was also just really good experience, being back behind the microphone, and getting that time creating characters and doing that stuff that really put me in a good place once I got back into, auditioning for animated shows.
Wow. I've heard so many people tell me, especially the voice actors that we've had on the show, that tell me that they just absolutely love the voice acting because you can completely step out of yourself and become somebody else inside of voice acting. Is that the case for you?
Yes, it's interesting because you really do. You're not tied to your physical limitations. Like I can voice a basketball player, which I can play on camera.
Right.
It's great, because you can play, children, you can play aliens, you can play pretty much anything that you can conceive a sound for. Mm-hmm. And it's great. You're not as deep in it. You don't have to memorize anything. It doesn't take as many hours. Hours of makeup up at 6 a.m. Which is a plus in a lot of ways. It's like, oh great, I'm done in 4 hours.
Yeah.
But it's also as an actor, I think you get into it if you're only doing a series one time. You play a character once and then it goes away. It's tough sometimes because you'll do a video game or something and it's a great character, but you didn't live with it as long. So people say, "Oh, remember that thing?" And I'm like, "No, I honestly don't."
Do you remember that character you did in Mass Effect 2? And you're like, yeah, I probably did lots of them. I probably did guy number 3 in that video game.
It's funny that you mentioned that because that is literally the example I give.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you honestly, I have no idea who I did in Mass Effect 2.
That's perfect because honestly, you look at the video game, you do multiple voices with it. They're like, "Hey, we need somebody who's a rough, tough guy. Can you do that?" And you're like, "Yeah, no problem. Here I go." and then you're done.
Yeah.
And you're like, I was guy number 3. Exactly.
Well, and there's a lot to be said about it. The fact that you don't really see this finished work a lot of times, I'll bet. Right?
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
generally speaking, with an animated show, there's 9 months to a year between when you record the voice and when the visual part of it is finished. So that's another part that separates you. When you're acting in a movie, you get to see the set.
Yeah.
Like there's something to recognize when it comes on. It's like, oh yeah, that's okay. Wow, it looks bigger with from behind. But with the animation, because it's such a more broken up process, yeah, you're really a cog in the machine, and you don't get to get the full effect until so much later.
Yeah, exactly. And so many different elements and things change, and plus you can do so much in editing. I mean, I this is my life. I do this all the time. You can move things around so it doesn't even won't even recognize what you actually did.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, Phil, we were talking a little bit before we started all this. You got something new coming down the pipe, a web series, right?
Yeah. Vanessa Raglan and I star in a series called Inside the Legend. It's produced by Epic Level, the same people who did Space Guys in Space and Bite Me.
Right.
And it's a two-person comedy interview show that is launching May 23rd on Epic Level TV. That's their YouTube page. And it's a lot of fun. We both get to play a lot of different characters and pretend to be very, very serious and very, very silly.
So is this live action or is this animated?
It's live action.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's some of it is fairly cartoony. The idea is we're hosts of an interview show, and we interview basically anybody from history, mythology, legend, like real people, dead people, imaginary people, but they all come through the studio and sit down as if they were going on a talk show. Why would, Paul Bunyan or John Henry be on a talk show? We don't know, but they're there.
That's awesome. That is awesomeness.
Wow. The questions you could ask, too. So, John Henry, do you text often while driving that train?
Right. Oh, yeah. No, it's hilarious. I mean, we've got Lizzie Borden, Joan of Arc. It's like,
wow.
So you're technically insane, right? My favorite was there's Einstein and there's Mark Twain, and the hostess can't really tell them apart.
That is brilliant. I like
if you think about the hair, the mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, which is which? I'm sorry, which are you?
Yeah.
That's awesomeness.
That is very, very cool. And so that's coming out really soon there. And then, of course,
that's going to be out on the 23rd of May.
Wow.
Yeah, they're launching it.
And, of course,
they've got InsideTheLegend.com.
Okay.
I guess they'll have episodes up there, and Epic Level TV on YouTube.
Very, very cool. Are you doing other voice work as well along the way?
Yeah, we're doing more Futurama. Got a new show called Kaijudo that just premiered on the Hub. And it's weird because it's based on this Pokemon-like game from the 90s, where you play the cards and my monster goes against your dragon monster. But Henry Gilroy, who wrote on Clone Wars, and Andrew Robinson, who wrote on Spectacular Spider-Man and a bunch of other shows I worked on, they come together and created this amazing mythology out of just that idea of kids fighting each other with monsters. And, they've gotten rid of the cards, thank God, so it's not some Pokemon, I play Super. But it's really in depth. Scott Wolf stars in it, along with me and Kari Wahlgren, and it's actually, some of it is really heartfelt and touching, and some great action too.
Wow.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure you're just always a busy guy, Phil. I mean, really, seriously, there's always need for voice talent somewhere.
Hey, and that's how the voiceover world works. Volume, volume, volume.
There you go.
In both senses of the word,
It's absolutely true. Well, Phil, we are all out of time today, but thanks for spending some time with us, and we look forward to seeing you at Phoenix Comic Con when you're in town here in a couple weeks.
Yes, I'm very excited for it, and thank you guys for having me on.
Awesome. Folks, go out. You can find Phil, his voice, and his body all over the place. Trust me, we know. We've seen it. So thanks again for talking with us, Phil.
Sure thing.
All right, we'll be back with more Slice of Sci-Fi right after this.
I'm sending my apprentice, Darth Maul, to join you. You have been well trained, my young apprentice.
Hey, Slicer Shove Members with more
News from Flight Test Land.
I have a slight retraction from our story last week about SpaceX launching the Dragon capsule to the space station. There is a delay to the launch due to basically SpaceX wants to make sure that everything on this launch goes absolutely perfect. And given the stakes riding on this, I don't blame them. They don't have the infrastructure all built up behind them like certain other space agencies do. So SpaceX, take the time you need. Let's see it gets done right. On a positive note for SpaceX, their manned Dragon capsule passed a major milestone this week when astronauts and engineers from NASA went inside version under development to make sure there was enough room to adequately move around, do their job, and to get out in case of emergency egress. Major milestone, folks. That makes it one step closer to actually carrying crews up into space. And finally, do you ever find spare crayons, cereal, and other such garbage underneath your couch? Well, DARPA is preparing to use that exact medium in order to test engines to find better ways to protect them from ingestion of foreign objects, also known as FOD, foreign object damage. They'll be using colorful crayons and colorful cereals, sucking them into a jet engine, and then using that to trace the path that they go through the engine in order to help design engines better to prevent damage and to allow engines to fly through areas where otherwise they might not be able to. Sonic Members out.
Okay,
that's cool.
That this pales without any any video. We need video for that.
Right?
I want to see them throwing
crayons,
crayons and stuff through jet engines. That's an entire
Tricks,
YouTube video.
Lucky Charms.
Absolutely. And is there different? What do different cereals do in different types of engines? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, do grape nuts do more damage than like honeycomb?
This
I would think so.
This could be an entire new YouTube series. Like, will it blend? It's actually will it blend only cooler?
Right.
Only with jet engines.
Right.
Will it blend with
Will
coolers?
it blend in your Rolls-Royce 3000 turbojet?
Can you imagine what Raisin Bran would do? Because raisins are kind of sticky.
There we go.
I want to know if they're going to heat the crayons before they shoot them through.
No.
To see. I mean,
No,
just
they'll heat plenty. As
Okay.
Let's
Get a couple more stories in here.
All right. Star Trek The Next Generation is coming to Blu-ray.
Yes, it is.
CBS Paramount has announced that the first season of the series will hit shelves on July 24th. The set features a new transfer from the original elements to produce new high-definition images, including amazing visual effects that have been painstakingly recreated from the source material, creating before and after results that fans will love. Featuring numerous behind-the-scenes interviews, the material also features Star Trek experts Mike and Denise Okuda, consultants throughout this ongoing project who offer special insights into the countless man-hours dedicated to the upgrade of the next generation.
So I am curious if they originally filmed the show in a large format camera so that they can get the widescreen. Yeah,
no, they didn't.
So are they going to do the crop and stuff, or how do you do it?
It didn't say in the story, so I don't know.
Really quick, we're running out of time.
One quick story. So when do Robert Orkey and Alex Kurtzman find time to sleep? Seriously,
never.
So they've penned scripts for the upcoming Star Trek sequel. They were brought in for Spider-Man sequel. Now comes this that they're rebooting The Mummy and Van Helsing.
Really?
For Universal, yes.
Yay?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yay. Van Helsing was a monumental disappointment. These guys know what they're doing.
So basically, we told you a couple weeks ago that Universal wanted to revive the Mummy franchise and only got to reboot, they only got to reboot a little while ago, 10 years?
Something like that. So now Van Helsing proved he can throw a lot of money at a movie and still be a big turd.
Yes.
So interestingly, the Van Helsing reboot could bring in one of Hollywood's big hitters, Mr. Scientology himself.
No. John Travolta?
No.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Tom
No, the other one.
Cruise.
Sorry,
Tom
the other one.
Cruise. Yes.
I'm not interested in the slightest.
Revolt Delta's having some
Butthole
civil
problems?
suit problems
Legal
right
issues.
now.
Slight legal issues.
Yeah, Tom's in my butthole. Yeah. Anyways, moving right
Are we
along.
done?
Anyway, that is on
Yeah,
that note,
that's
we're
pretty
going to call it a show. Holy cow!
Okay,
I can't
bye-bye.
believe we ended on that crap-tastic stuff. But okay,
and
okay.
Kurtzman.
Then let me just say, Fringe. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Right.
Next week we're going to have a full wrap up of Fringe because that's going to be the final episode.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, folks. Thanks for tuning in. You know where to go. Talk to you soon.